Everything around us is changing. Yeah. Nothing will ever be the same. Yeah. Limitless scope for transformation. Yeah. Yet no one has the answer for the pain. Yeah. Selfishness and greed have many blinded. Heartlessness has many people suffering. Why can't we see our brothers' pain? Yeah. Children are hungry and they are crying. Mothers are hurting and they are sighing. Yet all we care about is gain. Yeah. It's time for unity. Yeah. Deception is tumbling down. Live in unity. Yeah. Yeah. Division must be broken down. Unite in dignity. Yeah. United under God we stand. Unity is power. Time for unity, yeah.
A new season has begun, and while transformation is inevitable for many, your life will remain the same if this is the way you want it to be. However, you can change your life with a better plan from Lifeline Financial Programs. Begin fortnightly cash installments with any amount, then watch your finances multiply into thousands of dollars as you create a brand new future. Life is not a dream. You only get what you put in. We know you cannot do it alone. And this is why Lifeline Financial Programs created the best financial plans to help you transform your life. Guaranteed. Call us now at 540-4555 or email us at lifelinebvilimited@gmail.com for more information.
Lifeline Financial Programs, the gateway to a better future.
The raw truth.
The raw truth.
The raw truth.
The voice of the American.
Welcome. And for those of you who are joining us, wherever you're joining us from, welcome to PSI TV, an absolutely amazing opportunity again to share with you. And wherever you're joining us from, please share with all your friends, because this is going to be a very interesting discussion we'll be having this evening with our special guest who is actually in-house. And yes, we have quite a bit to talk about tonight. But as usual, before we get cracking, it is inevitable for us to give thanks. It is inevitable to give thanks to the streams of water, the pools and the lakes, to the maize and the fruits, to the medicinal herbs and trees, to the forest trees for their usefulness, and to the animals that serve as food and give their pelts for clothing, to the great winds and the lesser winds, to the thunderers, to the sun, the mighty warrior, to the moon, to the messenger of the Creator who reveals his wishes, and to the great Creator who dwells in the heavens above, who gives all things useful to men, and who is the source and ruler of health and life, to the great Creator, and for all things we give thanks. Absolutely necessary for us all to give thanks. Whatever is your source of life, give thanks. Whatever is your state of life, give thanks. Whatever your aspirations in life, give thanks, because it is in being thankful for who, what, and where you are that you attract everything you need to have in your own space. A very, very serious principle. And if you want your life to change, just begin to give thanks for what you want to have in your life, and your life will literally transform itself. It's a principle, a universal principle which works. Anything you need to see or have or become in your life, begin to give thanks for it as you begin to move towards achieving it. And trust me, in no time, it will shock you to see exactly where you are. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. Please subscribe. Yes? Go to our YouTube channel and click the like and the subscribe button, and you'll be sure to receive our notifications whenever we send them out. So please subscribe. And when you're done, share with your friends, share with everyone, because it's going to be an amazing this evening as we continue to share with you. And before we move any further, we have some very interesting happenings going on right here in the BVI. Of course, the BVI has become world-renowned these days, as you may know. A hell of a lot of things are happening in the BVI, and goodness gracious, when will it end? It seemed like the more the days pass, the more we have on our plate in the great BVI, goodness gracious. We'll come back in a moment, and when we come back, you'll be joining us right here in News Buzz. Back in a minute.
The Week in Review, a PSI News Buzz presentation.
And on News Buzz this evening, amazing stuff. We're having quite a bit happening here in the BVI, and I think it is interesting that we highlight some of that as we move into the program. Yes? Now, last week, the Week in Review, it's very interesting that social analyst Cindy Roseanne Jones, she was reportedly being interviewed by the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force, and it's very interesting that the RVIPF called her down. Why? It is alleged that a post was made by Cindy on her Facebook page around May 1. And the post, which made a myriad of rumors of rounds around social media, allegedly carried a photo of a house and the alleged owner, which the publisher associated to a sting operation involving former Premier Andre Foy. A source from the RVIPF familiar with this matter stated that there was a warrant issued for Ms. Jones's cellular phone. In her response, Cindy threatened to sue the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force for the way she was treated, and wrote on her Facebook page, May 12, that if she went to her bed without her phone, she will be turning up the BVI the following day on a different level, and they will not be able to handle a PR nightmare. However, Cindy maintains her cool as she cooperates with the police in their investigation. And more last week, while that happened, the indictment document published by the United States District Court in the Southern District of Florida clearly stated that the former Premier Andre Foy is down for life imprisonment as charged. According to the document, all his assets and anything connected to him, based on the matter as presented in the affidavit, as charged, all his assets may be seized. His final verdict is set to be handed down at the next court hearing. I'm not sure how smoothly that will be going. Anything is possible. But this is the last I got coming out of the court. And at home in the BVI, Governor John Ranking has launched criminal investigation into the following matters. The conduct of the Premier's office under the previous Premier in obstructing the Director of the Internal Audit Department in respect of her audit of the COVID-19 assistance program based on the COI recommendation B14. And there is also criminal investigation into the recovery of the public money expended on the Seacoast Bay Harbor development project and the Virgin Islands Neighborhood Partnership Project, as found in COI recommendations B20. And there is also criminal investigation into the recovery of the public money expended in the disposal of Parcel 310 of Block 2938B, Road Town Registration Section, according to recommendation B32 of the COI. And also there is investigation into possible corruption with Her Majesty's Customs, as recorded in the COI recommendation B40. With regards to recommendation B21 of the COI, criminal investigations are already underway in relation to the Elmer Stout High School, Perimeter Wall Project, and the BVI Airways Project. Goodness gracious. And it seems like the more they dig, the more we hear, the more the days pass, the more it seems like we're going to be having a whole lot of serious digging into and upstir and gosh, who will go to prison after all of this? Goodness gracious, it's crazy. I hope it doesn't happen that way, but it seems like we're going to be having serious trouble here in the BVI when the COIs finish digging into these matters. Nothing to play with at all. And finally, on the week in review, National Unity Government submits proposal on governance to UK Overseas Territories Minister Amanda Milling. Premier Wheatley said he hopes it will be considered instead of the unpopular direct rule. The question is, what will be Britain's decision in the face of all the happenings in the British Virgin Islands? Goodness gracious, everybody is on brace. Everybody is bracing. Britain is yet to speak on the matter. We don't know where they'll be going as yet. We don't know if they'll be working with our newly formed unity government. I've never seen things happen so fast. Goodness gracious. Popping. Is this what Britain requires for the territory? And if this is what Britain needs to have in place, is it that they are considering foregoing direct rule? Everybody's wondering what in God's name is going to happen here. Well, PSI Network, PSI TV will keep you posted, and every Monday right here on News Buzz, we'll keep you updated on what is happening in the BVI and across the world on the raw truth. We come back in a minute. And tonight is a very interesting night. We have with us a very special guest, and it seems to me that the time has come when we have to get real deep into having some very serious discussions in relation to what is happening within the territory. It is good to have everyone involved, but at least we need some prominent voices to share with us on exactly where we are and what is going on within the territory. I think everyone has the right to share. Everyone reserves the right to voice their opinion. And I think your opinion is absolutely critically important as we shape the discussion moving forward in the BVI. Very serious times in the BVI. I think we're looking at some very serious fines and prison time and all kinds of things as the COI digs into its investigations, and as the DEA in the USA continues its probe into the matter regarding the former premier, it really looks like we're going to be having some serious questions coming forward. I know some people are trembling in their boots right now. I can't help you. I wish I could. I really wish I could. However, I pray it doesn't work to your demise. I hope there can be some form of redress, some form of negotiation. And where there can be some form of negotiation, I pray that all work in favor of all of us. But where it is warranted that each has to pay for his crime, I can't say much. I can't say much. What can I say? We have a very interesting guest with us tonight, and he is Barrister Richard Rowe, a very good friend of mine. I've known him for some time. And I invited him on tonight because I think it is important to hear what is happening from a legal point of view. It's good to probably relate to the general situation from a layman's point of view, but looking at where the BVI is going, it is not a joke at all. And I think we need to begin to have some very serious discussions in relation to shaping the mindset. I don't think a lot of people understand very well where we are. I don't think a lot of people is keen on exactly where we are, much the more to make adjustments, much the more to reposition ourselves, to understand what is happening and position ourselves that we can become the difference within the territory. It is. I'm praying that we'll get to that point. Barrister Rowe, greetings.
Greetings, Brother Kenny. An evening to your audience.
Yes. It's quite interesting. I'm very happy that you were able to make the time to come. But the BVI has been popping, pop. I do a little popcorn every now and again, and goodness gracious, it's happening so fast here, brother. Every minute around the corner, pop. How are you seeing it from where you sit to begin? How would you introduce us?
As it goes in the sound of music.
Yes.
Let's begin with the ABCs. The English legal system, in fact, English democracy, is based on one fundamental principle.
Yes.
The rule of law.
Yes.
In respect to which simply means that all are subject to the law. You know, some years ago when I was becoming a US citizen, that question was raised by the interviewer. Yes. And I pointed out to him quite clearly that certainly, as was shown with the US president, the last one, Donald Trump.
Yes.
That is a farce. That is a fallacy. That is an untruth.
Yes.
For some, the law, we are subject to the law, and for others, they are not. And I think we had a prime example of that in the Commission of Inquiry which just occurred. And I will go on to show where this governor himself, this present governor, is not himself applying the rule of law. Firstly, there is established precedent, which is our law in the Virgin Islands, that the Commission of Inquiry legislation must be interpreted in a modern way. And judges have declared this as law, which allowed persons to be informed of what they were accused, to be able to cross-examine their accuser and to bring evidence from to challenge the accusations.
Yes.
What we saw was a kangaroo court or investigation operated by the Higginbottom, where these which are called salmon rules were totally ignored.
Can you explain what are salmon rules? Can you do you mind
These are
explaining that?
rules of natural justice. In other words, one of the basic fundamentals of the rules of the rule of law is that one would have the right to know beforehand what you're accused of. That you would know, have the right to have someone defend you, or a lawyer or other. That you would be able to bring witnesses in support of your position. We didn't have that. And when I raised this with the commission, he rushed this aside. We saw at the end where what he required, well, listen how interesting this one is, that this inquisition, this is what he called it, an inquisition, yes, like one judge said, the Spanish Inquisition, where you're wrapped, stretched on the rack and the like, that he allowed Cox a few minutes to cross-examine the governor, and I think the commissioner, former governor and the commissioner. No one else were afforded these rights. We were told that if we had to ask questions, we had to go through those persons who under our law are deemed to be criminals. That is Rabat and the two solicitors. The rule of law requires, that is the second point with respect to the rule of law, it requires that those who are coming into the Virgin Islands from wherever to act as barristers or solicitors have first to be called to the local bar. It is, if it is not done, it is a criminal offense. This was pointed out to all the necessary bodies. There's no prosecution from the DPP. There's no prosecution from the Commissioner of Police. Yet these persons, acting on the face of it, because remember, while we have been prejudging our premier, everyone is assumed to be innocent
until proven guilty. Indeed, agreed. Yes.
But when the time comes for it, suddenly the COI moves from the Virgin Islands to England. So that's the rule of law for you.
Wow.
One, do as I say, not as I do. Let's continue.
Wow.
The commissioner, even this flawed commissioner of inquiry, indicates clearly, and you mentioned it in your opening, that the actions with respect to the auditor are not criminal offenses. Listen carefully. If you read, you will see that the so-called obstruction of the auditor is not a criminal offense. Yet this governor has sought it through his judicial wisdom to direct criminal investigations into something which is not a crime. Obviously, it is a smear campaign, not a true investigation. The same occurs with the Seacoast Bay situation. The same occurs with the wall. if there are criminal offenses, rather than administrative breaches or civil breaches, and I noticed the Honorable Fraser has made it very clear, I represented him, that anyone who received the money for that Seacoast Bay project and did not complete it is obligated by civil law to repay the deposits they received or to have a quantum merit for what work they did. But this COI, and it appears this governor, is wishing to make us all a penal colony. That is, we are all prisoners. We are all convicts for non-criminal acts. And as a consequence of that, he's going to take away our most fundamental right, the right to be ruled by those we elect. So this is, I think, in looking at it in the round, this is the clearest example of colonialist hypocrisy.
Wow.
Manifested itself quite openly.
Wow. My brother, you know, amazing introduction, because when the day is done, you have actually painted a picture which, as a man of law yourself, you're actually telling us very blatantly here on this program that most, if not all, the charges which are filed against the people of this territory are what should I call them, misplaced, or what word would I use to describe them?
Let's go a little sharper. The 7 million that was taken from the airport, it has the 2 Englishmen who are responsible have been identified.
So what is becoming of that matter?
You Englishmen who took it have been identified, but no inquiry into them.
This is news tonight. Share this, people. Share this, because you're hearing it first right here on PSI.
There's a firm which was employed by the previous administration, continued, who identified who these 2 Englishmen are.
But they are the ones who should be charged based on the agreements, if that's the case.
They are the ones, but nothing happened from our great benefactor, England, to those 2. What you persecute is you continue this process, like Dr. Livingston, I presume, when they raped us and stole us from Africa. Everything we do is right, and you are savages and criminals in whatever you do.
But if you understand the matter of the savages, sir, the black people were the exploits of the savagery which was perpetrated against them, if we understand what our history teaches. Huh?
And that is the point. Those who welcome the return of colonialism to these territories, must learn that lesson. We'll have to learn that lesson again.
Wow.
Abandoned as a bird sanctuary, built up without any assistance. They have come and seen what Virgin Islands have built for themselves and now want to take it back. You know, they say they do it in the name of the Queen. But persons in the taxi stands who remember when the Queen visited, she uttered these words, I am told: "You have a beautiful country here. Do not let anyone take it from you."
Wow.
But they are now seeking to take it in the name of Her Majesty.
Brothers and sisters, you're live with us right here on PSI Network. Share, share, share. You invite your friends to this. It's a very serious discussion we're having with Barrister Richard Rowe. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to dig a little deeper into some of the very matters which he raised here, right here on The Raw Truth. We come back in a minute.
The Raw Truth.
The Raw Truth.
The Raw Truth.
The voice of the American.
Let me say a very special welcome to all our friends. You're joining us from across the world. Please share this with all your friends, because this, especially my friends in the BVI, you need to share this with everyone you can share it with tonight, because this is going to be a very, very interesting discussion we're having right here with Barrister Richard Rowe. He was a part of the COI as a representative of the government. I'm not sure to what effect that was within the COI, because I guess all the decisions were made and all of that and blah, blah, blah. It was quite an interesting saga. Now, as coming from the man himself, he's saying to us that most of the charges which were laid against the BVI are technically null and void in courts, given the substance of the matter. Very interesting. Can I ask you this, sir? Because it gets a little interesting as you explain.
Let me correct you before I go on. I did not represent the government.
Right.
We were asked to represent members of the assembly who are not members, who are not ministers, senior or junior.
Yes.
So we represented members of all the parties.
All parties.
And yes.
Good. Wonderful. Good. Now, if we should take a step back to technically what you highlighted as abrogation of our rights, maybe strong terms to use in quotes, but if that is what it is what it is. My question is, how do we hold everyone, Britain and even our own people, accountable for the violations committed in the territory, whether it's the governor, whether it's those involved in the COI, wherever we are? What steps can we take to hold these people accountable in relation to these matters?
Now let us be clear about our legal system. The then Speaker, took steps to have those who were here working without work permits and without being called to the bar brought up for the breaches, alleged breaches they were committing. It closed with him having a hefty charge for costs. So the man who was seeking to have a wrong righted essentially end up, through our justice system, paying exceedingly high costs for a matter which never reached the courts. In other words, there was not a hearing day set. All that we have is assessment of the costs of this firm. Now, likewise, we have, although he says otherwise, we have a premier, ex-premier, who is charged for alleged offenses. And it appears, certainly contrary to the rule of law, that we have all found him guilty already without having heard a word from him. No, it is interesting. You know, you spoke last week in the program about the insularity of certain Virgin Islanders who defended, what is it, who have the name, who have the position.
Yes.
But it's interesting that having practiced law for since 1979, mainly in the criminal courts,
Yes.
that I do not find, I can't count on my hand any mother who has abandoned her child because that child was charged with a criminal offense.
Yes.
But here we are, purportedly under the rule of law,
Yes.
on the basis of solely an affidavit of an informant. And I've been approached by them, believe me, I've been approached in Jamaica to on behalf of DEA agents to defend the criminal, alleged drug dealers, on the basis that they must receive a part of my pay and that I cannot exercise all the rights for that person charged. In other words, they must be found guilty. This is how I have been approached by DEA agents.
Wow.
Right? So I look with great suspicion.
Wow.
And I tell the circumstances, right? When anyone under the pay of an agency will make allegations which have yet to be proved as true, that we have, under this rule of law, condemned his office and his staff, the permanent secretary, as if she is a criminal, to a criminal investigation and put on leave when it is not a crime.
Wow.
Has condemned our leaders, Myron Walwyn, Mr. Fraser, has tried to indeed subtly, not subtly, and rather overtly, paint them as criminals, when the building of that wall, from everything in that, all the engineering reports and the like, there's no criminality involved.
Can I say this to you, sir? Can I say this to you? Because it's very clear coming from you and from what we have been seeing in the territory, that a certain sect, while it's highly questionable if you ask me, because many people seem to be saying, get rid of these people, we don't want them around here, get rid of them. While on the other hand, others are saying, no, like you are saying, we need to have due process of law. We need to have allow due process to prove otherwise, rather than labeling these men or these people as wrongdoers. So there seems to be a divide within the territory in relation to what is happening currently. And it is very interesting how swiftly, and I noticed that, the government remodeled itself. Within the same week after the incarceration of the man, the government, now the new unity government, remodeled itself within a week, within 1 week after his incarceration. I've never seen anything as speedy as that in my entire life.
It may well be that they finally listened to advice. In the earliest days of receiving this appointment to act on the legislations, I met in caucus with the Asset House.
Yes.
And I advised them that, having gone through the COI reports from the Turks and Caicos, that this exercise was a fait accompli. In other words, it was a done deal. They were going to make recommendations to suspend the Constitution. The then Premier told me he didn't want to hear that. I urged the bodies to go to make it the national campaign to explain what was being undertaken. No one listened. I urged a broad unity of all the parties.
Wow.
They are now seeing the need for this broad national coalition to fight a force, to resist a force which is bent on recolonizing the Virgin Islands.
So you saw all this coming and warned them, but they didn't listen.
No, I guess they thought that in the face of a ferocious beast, what you ought to do is play dead.
Oh my gosh, please
Yeah,
share this, please.
I think what it does is set you up for a meal.
Oh my gosh.
You know?
Wow.
Because it was obvious, it has been obvious for those who have eyes to see that this was the intention.
Yes, indeed. There you go. But one would think, Barrister Rowe, that your influence within these circles, your experience as a barrister at law, your guidance as one who understands these things should have been given heed to. But it's amazing that you're telling me that your guidance was rejected. This is sad.
Please remember, we were contracted with a petty contract that is under $100,000, while an English firm, former Attorney General, and another firm largely composed of Englishmen represented the government for over 60 times what we were paid.
Wow.
So we weren't considered of great value.
But this is not good coming from you, Barrister Rowe. This is not good at all. Absolutely not.
What's not good? Why? This is the reality.
You mean our own people is worth trash, while the white man again is placed on a pedestal? Is this the mindset in the territory?
Well, don't worry. He is that which I will never be, and has no desire to be Queen's Counsel. He is former Attorney General of the Conservative government, which is in power. That is Mr. Cox. All right. They thought that if they had someone from inside their party, it would have been to their benefit.
And they ended up worst. Absolutely
worst. If we don't learn from history, I think you said earlier, we are doomed to repeat it.
Woy.
If we abandon our own at the drop of a hat, if we don't allow due process of law, the rule of law, even our own, no matter how embarrassed we are, we will be constantly defeated.
Yeah, Barrister Rowe, one thing I can tell you tonight, I within their private capacity, and I'm reasoning this out. I don't care whether you're British, Canadian, US, whatever you are, men and women, all. I don't have a problem with people, But when it becomes as politically driven as we are seeing all of this, And the rights of people are going to be abrogated for the benefit of the other. In and of itself, it's a criminal act, because when the day is done, if law is fair, then fair consideration should be given to all men, all parties, that each can enjoy a certain degree of justice. Is it that justice is gone through the roof? And politics based on association or position is now the order of the day. Is this where we are?
You know, Kenny, it has not been 2 decades or less than the British Parliament have completed paying the slave owners, those wicked men, paying them for the end of slavery, for taking their property. It is within this 1834, it is only within this century that they have completed paying them. But reparations are a no-no. We who have worked without pay, have lost our language, lost our religion, have lost our families and our identities, far worse than anything happening to under Hitler, are to get no reparations whatsoever.
Well, we were told by the farmer.
Criminality.
Yes.
There's no greater crime against humanity that was conducted by those slave traders in all spheres of from the palaces right down.
We were told by the former governor that the BVI does not qualify for reparations.
We don't qualify. Yes, you know why? Because this bird sanctuary, these people of bird sanctuary built themselves up like Africa was before they came, wealthy and prosperous, and they have come to take again what they never.
Oh my God. Let me ask you this question, because this has always been a matter which bugs me. Let me say good evening to Miss Pemberton. She's in. It bugs me, and please share your thoughts in the live, friends, as we continue this discussion. It's good to hear from you. This thought bugs me, my brother. The BVI is currently owned by the local people, the lands within the territory. In other words, a majority of the lands is owned by local people. It's the only place in the world where you have perhaps this kind of
didn't point that out, didn't I? Of the Commonwealth,
yes.
The Commonwealth, a surveyor pointed out to me some years ago that BVI has the least percentage-wise ownership of what is called state land.
Or crown lands.
Or the
yes.
crown lands.
Yes.
The least, a very small percentage.
So this is my question. How is it that Britain owns the territory when the lands are owned by the people who live in it? This is my question.
That's the perception they would like to give us. What is it? That's a false legal premise.
And if it is
by
false,
international law, the Virgin Islands falls as a sort of hybrid because of certain articles and the like. I won't give you the numbers. Nobody will remember. Yes. Research them yourselves. We are a hybrid in the sense that we are being prepared for independence. We are getting a certain degree of autonomy, preparing us for full independence.
Right.
We are not owned by Britain. Britain has authority over the failing police force. It has authority over the failing justice system.
Yes.
But no governor has been called to account for that on this COI. He praises the civil service. But notice that no minister can do anything without the civil service. The minister by law only determines policy, and the civil service carries it out. But what this COI has done, and this governor, to extricate himself, to place the blame everywhere else than at himself, than itself, has said the ministers are at fault. But the ministers do not implement. It is the civil service that does. And two good programs, probably your others are too young. But Yes Minister and Yes Prime Minister, some old English programs about the civil service. If we go back and look at them, we'll see who really rules.
But let me ask you this, sir. If it is, because now you're raising some very serious points here, and yes, I can relate to that. More questions. If it is that Britain does not own the land, and of course, Britain still has a heavy hand in this territory by virtue of the fact that there's a governor representing this territory to Britain, and that's one mess. But the whole point is, while that is what it is, how is it that the BVI, after 57 years, never got to the point where it looks at itself and said, this British thing, we have built this land, we own the majority of the land, we therefore need to pull ourselves from under British control? How is it that this territory, under governments before us, never took the opportunity to actualize this position? What were they waiting on?
I am told that when one looks clearly at what Lavity Stout indicated with all his plans in his speeches, that he was clearly indicating that we had to move for independence. If you read the blogs, particularly from a certain prominent newspaper, you'll find that these people, our people, if you follow them, have no confidence in our capacity. This country, which has more PhDs per capita than anywhere else in the world,
yes,
this territory which has built itself up to such a degree that an English MP, woman, I won't call her name,
yes,
when her representatives went up to seek assistance after the hurricanes and the flood, were told, how dare you? Your people are living at a higher standard of living than us in England.
You're serious?
And then on top of this, you're stealing our taxes. So, but we have built that. England has not been able to, after years of plundering all over the world, where the sun never set.
Wow.
But we are a bad example for the rest of black people in the world, of third world people.
Wow.
Because the BBI has demonstrated that without the interference of imperialist and colonialist forces, that we can build a prosperous economy.
Wow.
But they want to stop that. It is a bad example. And that which is commonplace in every government In every government, you have instances of government overreach. It's called administrative law.
Yes.
Where you go through the courts, the rule of law again, to hold back governmental excess and to get reference. You can't compel the government to do things. There are certain injunctions and other prescriptive rights are not granted against the government, against the state. But you have the right to intervene and stop, as my law firm is doing now in several instances. So rather than take over and have a dictatorship of a governor,
yes,
who has no relationship with this territory, who has only, my observation as well, I saw him at the match, we got 21 love from Haiti, kick a football on the track. Yes. And I don't know his relation to the Virgin Islands people. I don't know his knowledge of their needs, desires, goals. But he's going to rule us without being elected.
Wow.
Almost fundamental human right.
But these are absolutely, if I should say this, based on what you are explaining is here to us tonight, criminal breaches of law.
No, I'm not going to take the step of using that unenlightened term. It cannot be considered a criminal breach if it is not a crime.
Yes.
Right? So I will not follow the governor and say that these non-criminal acts should be investigated criminally. I am saying that this is a matter of the international law. No. And should be brought to the United Nations. This action should be brought to even in the British Supreme Court and to the Court of World Opinion. That is where the battle is. You
are indeed a savvy statesman. Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. We're going to take another break. When we come back, we are going to continue our discussion with Barrister Richard Rowe. Goodness gracious. This is not a poker game here tonight. This is not a poker game. Please share this with everyone. If you live in the BVI, you're listening here, share, because this is absolutely amazing information that we need to hear. We come back in a moment.
A new season has begun, and while transformation is inevitable for many, your life will remain the same if this is the way you want it to be. However, you can change your life with a better plan from Lifeline Financial Programs. Begin fortnightly cash installments with any amount, then watch your finances multiply into thousands of dollars as you create a brand new future. Life is not a dream. You only get what you put in. We know you cannot do it alone. And this is why Lifeline Financial Programs created the best financial plans to help you transform your life. Guaranteed. Call us now at 540-4555 or email us at lifelinebvilimited@gmail.com for more information.
Lifeline Financial Programs, the gateway to a better future.
The raw truth.
The raw truth.
The raw truth.
The voice of the American.
Welcome back to The Raw Truth, and you're live right here with us on PSI TV. I'm Kenny G, Pakal, your host. And of course, we continue until 10 p.m. We have another wonderful hour left. And goodness gracious, time does fly when you're having fun. If you're just joining us, please subscribe to our YouTube page, our YouTube platform. Please subscribe. Yes? Like the page, click the subscribe button. Make sure that you're connected, that when we send out our notification, you're the first to be notified. Yes? And please share this with your friends, because this is critical information that everyone in the BVI and elsewhere need to have. This is not a joke at all. Goodness gracious, this is powerful information in relation to what is happening in lawful or legal perspective. Not a joke at all. We have with us Barrister Richard Rowe, and quite a savvy lawyer. He's not a washover. He's a man who understands exactly what he's about, and he is. Let me say good night, good evening to Hortense Douglas. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Barrister Rowe is not a washover. He's not a man who speaks with water in his mouth. He knows what he's about, and he's always been representing the BVI at the highest level. One of the best lawyers available within the BVI, and of course, we were fortunate to have him here this evening. You touched some very, very serious points, my beloved brother, and it is interesting to note that when the day is over, we must begin to examine ourselves right where we are. We need to begin to look at my friend in St. Martin, lawyer Denica Bryson, has been an ardent supporter of what is happening in the BVI. And of course, he probably would have flown over here if it got to that place in support of what is happening locally. And I think great minds are absolutely 100% very much sold on the idea that British rule at this point in moving into the 21st century is absolutely unheard of and absolutely unconstitutional. I mean, if a constitution was created to manage government, that's one thing. But if you're talking about liberation into the 21st century, which I'm really wondering now, given the new agenda as it is set to happen, a lot of questions are being raised at this point as to the rights of our people moving forward. Now, if, as Barrister Rowe mentions, if this has to go to the international court, then this might be a matter that one would need to look into in relation to preserving the rights of our people within this territory. A very serious position. And I'm not sure if the local prepared to challenge this position as is currently prevailing in the territory in the international court. Very interesting position.
Let us understand what our constitution is.
Yes.
Our constitution, well, firstly, the British themselves do not have a constitution.
Point to note, indeed. Absolutely.
Okay? The British House of Representatives and the House of Lords act on the basis that any law that is in the land, they can revoke and they can make new law.
Yes.
That is the power for making law.
Yes.
Our constitution is a product of the House. So, by English law, they have the power to suspend, to amend, to do whatever they wish with our constitution.
While they have none.
While they have none.
We can't talk to them.
All the power lies with them. And if we do not come as mendicants, as beggars in the hand, they will not give us.
Our fault. Our fault. Absolutely our fault. Yes, our fault. Our fault. Yes, indeed. We created this monster. How the hell do we deal with it now moving into the 21st century? We created the monster. We did. And when the day is done, our government sit as a bunch of... I say this all the time and people don't like me for saying it. I am not anti-BVI or anti-overseas territories as they are called. I am anti-Mumu, anti-Mumu. Is it that people who are placed in government are so dumbed down in their mind that they can't think straight? They don't understand what is happening at the level of law. And they just come grab as much money as they can, grab, stuff it in their back pocket, run away, eat all the food, get fat, and form their ass and behave stupid. And when the day is done, our rights as a people are being continue to be abrogated, and they have no clue of what is happening. Is this the case?
You see, Kenny,
Help me
we
out,
have
sir.
to look.
Help me out.
Let me look at a little broader.
Yes.
Territories who have sought to have another form of democracy,
Yes.
a more people-oriented form of democracy. And we can name easily two which formed the Commonwealth, the Caribbean Commonwealth.
Yes.
Jamaica and Guyana.
Yes.
Right? Jamaica, which had then, when I went to university, a Jamaican dollar was worth 120 US. $1.20 US.
Good.
It was the same as the Caymanian dollar because the Cayman Islands was under the protectorate, so termed of Jamaica. Guyana, which sought to have a more inclusive socialistic society, much like Norway, Sweden, these places determined in the world to have the highest happiness index in the world.
Yes.
Their constitution was abandoned was the same thing happened with Britain. And their dollar is now over 200 to 1. Jamaican dollar is 150.
Yeah, 150 to 1. That's where it is, yes, indeed.
Right. So those who have eyes to see that those who control the international monetary system,
yes,
punish those who seek to break rank and go independent of this hegemonistic, imperialistic system that rules the world. And that as a small territory, you have to protect yourself, as I think our leaders in the BVI have done, by three things, three pillars.
Yes.
Work permits, non-belong land holding licenses, and trade licenses in particular, to protect those who simply print money through printing machines, you know, and come and demand with the strength of their military and the like, our gold, our diamonds, our wealth.
Yes.
You know, a client came into my office recently and I was explaining to him this process. He had a gold bangle in his hand. And I asked him what his value was. He said it's about $300. I said, okay, I took up a small tab and I wrote on it $300. Because that's what the US Treasury does, you know.
Yes.
I wrote on it $300 and says, let me have that bundle. For the piece of paper. All right. So there is wisdom in recognizing just what happened when Mussolini was invading and the Pope resisted. He uttered these words, the Mussolini uttered these words to the Pope. How many divisions does the Pope command?
Let me ask you this, Mr. Rowe, because it becomes a very interesting matter. And I've been watching worldwide as the system shifts to facilitate the New World Order. I'm also watching as countries become, I'm specifically referring now to overseas territories, as they become more aware of their position versus Britain, versus their own development, their capacity to be independent or self-sustaining. But all of this is currently backed against the wall in light of the new, I find it's very interesting, the new globalist agenda that is being rolled out as we speak is now the backdrop of anything that can be independent or self-sustaining. The dictatorship has begun. What are you seeing from a legal perspective for the BVI? What are you seeing?
Just interesting question. I had some years ago, before I was appointed an alternate magistrate here, I had dinner with a governor, previous governor, I won't call his name. And even he clearly pointed out what has now been published as global, the intentions of United Kingdom, global Britain. That is, we are going to welcome you all as one family, where you have a member in the House of Representatives of how many hundreds. Your House of Assembly, it'll be like a town council. You don't listen to NBC and ABC. It is the BBC.
Yes.
The courts, your courts wouldn't be the Privy Council. It would be then the European Council of the UN, the body that oversees law, the highest courts in the European Union.
Right.
Okay. In other words, we were to be integrated and to become nice English, part of the English family. And lose our autonomy, lose those three pillars. We were freed, all Englishmen were free to come and purchase land and set up business.
Yes.
And vote, and vice versa.
Yes.
The 15,000 Virgin Islanders, and many of those still infants who can't vote, have no right to vote, would have a right to vote for the how many million Englishmen. That is what we would do. We would take the crumbs off to the table and they would take our mess of porridge.
Yes.
That clearly was the intention. And again, that is always what has happened with the British in history.
Yes.
They haven't been as bad as the French when they left parts of Africa, that they bombed up all the infrastructure they had developed for the exploitation. Nor do they demand that from all the other Caribbean Commonwealth countries print their money in Britain, and that it retains a certain percentage of it.
Yes.
That's not the case as I understand it.
Right.
But the exploiters nonetheless, they have never given. They have only been takers.
So you think this is another taking spree, perhaps? Is that it?
If that MP is correct, all these companies overseas, the financial services industry, is in competition with London as the financial center of the world.
Let me say this to you, sir.
In London.
The Chagos Islands, and you can dig it up online for those of you who are not familiar with the story. The Chagos Islands upon realizing that Britain is technically occupying their land illegally in courts, filed a motion in court demanding that Britain leave their land, leave the archipelago. Yes, because they are illegally occupying the land. You know what came out of the court, Mr. Rowe? The court gave Britain time to pack up and get out because the people say, we don't want you here. Now, you look at overseas territories management and all of this versus the Chagos Islands. Very similar matter. When are we the people? And it is a very interesting question because nothing is unlawful about it or strange. You're not under slavery anymore. You reserve the right for self-determination. When are the people going to get up and say, okay, fine, we do not need British occupation here. We need to manage our own affairs. Etta said a while ago that whenever you talk about independence, the BVI people get scared as hell. It's a fact. Of course, many are saying, if Britain leave, we can't trust them local boys. But Lord God, they're going to kill us. Lord, they're going to kill us. We can't trust them. They're going to kill we, Lord. We can't get Britain out here. So they're hanging on to the Queen's curtail. And the longer they hang on to the Queen's curtail, the longer they find themselves in a situation as it is manifesting before our very faces right now. Goodness gracious. When are we going to get there, brother?
You know, one of my favorite musical artists is a man called Peter Tosh, you know. And he says, give me back my gold, my diamond. Take back your chink, your roach, and your mosquito. Because it is not that we are sucking at the tits. It is that they, like parasites, are sucking our lifeblood. And
oh my God.
just like Harriet Tubman said, you know, when the Underground Railroad, when she was liberating our enslaved people, not slaves,
Yes.
our enslaved people in the America. She
Yes.
could have liberated thousands more if they only recognized the condition they were in.
I think we're too comfortable, you know.
But if you look at those blogs,
yes. I think we're
you
too
see the house
comfortable.
slaves never were always going to hold on to the little privileges they get from massa.
The chicken bone and the piece of bread and little sugar and water and slavery every day. I have a video I want to play for my listeners and for my viewers, you know, because this will wake the hell up. Yes, a little piece of chicken bone and a little bed on the back in with the roach and the chink and whatever else, and that is it. The quality of life abrogated by
the hand-me-down clothes. Yes.
Yes. And that is what we're satisfied with, not knowing that we are the creators of everything we see before our eyes. We can create our boats, we can create our airplanes, we can create the largest houses we care, we can create the best of technology. We are the creators of all of these things. Why are we dependent on others who are going to abrogate our rights and charge us millions of dollars for the very things that we can do? What is going on with us as a people? Somebody said it a while ago. We vote for these people. So what do you expect? Yes, it was Craig Joseph who said it. We keep voting for these people in government. Those are the people you elect. So how can you blame them? Think about that. A very profound question.
You know, I'm not, it is too close. A very senior politician sat in front of me in my desk. And I asked him, how is it possible under this so-called democratic system,
yes,
to finance an election for millions of dollars when your income as a politician is barely over 100,000. You see, if there is an investigation into corruption in governance under this system, this Westminster system, it's by its very nature corrupt.
Governments are involved in corruption, sir. Britain is, USA is, Canada is, everywhere you go, it's everywhere. So I'm saying,
this
why is
conservative government has been financed, they said, a large part by these Russian oligarchs.
We all know it. Nothing is unique about that. Huh? We know the operations of most of these bodies that are formed in the USA and everywhere else and elsewhere in the world. We know. But my question is, why is it that little places like the BVI are being destroyed by the narrative that it is filled with criminals, when the criminals are elsewhere making big bucks and living a good life and nobody's seeing them? No, I am not promoting criminalism.
No,
that is not the point.
Let me explain it.
But we have bigger fish to fry. Why the hell would I find them?
Let me explain it slowly. Black people, we black people, are ignorant fools and barbarians.
Oh, Lord help us.
We created nothing from civilization.
Lord have mercy.
And nothing good can come from us.
Oh, Lord.
So when it is that nature's little secrets is exposed to the world, as a country abandoned, again, as a bird sanctuary, because you have no value, who by the dint of their own labor, their own sacrifice, their own ingenuity, and far less criminality than the British parliaments and governments and crown, have brought for them a high standard of living, that must not be allowed to be duplicated anywhere else in the world, or white supremacy will fail.
I see exactly where you are. And we have surpassed them in many cases, I'm sure. Absolutely.
Precisely. So you've got to, when BVI is an example to the world,
wow,
right? You've got to muddy it up.
Wow. Living too
right?
good.
We don't talk about American presidents like Reagan with the Contra deal, selling cocaine for weapons.
Big deal all over the place, brother. We know
right?
that.
U.S. presidents bringing out gold out of Alaska illegally and selling it. You know, I've said to many a person, what happened with Monica Lewinsky is far different than bombing Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Thousands of innocent people. Those are crimes.
Wow.
Napalm in Vietnam. Those are crimes.
Wow.
Right? But it is fine for them to do as I say, not as I do. So this criminal of what? You've colonized China by the Opium Wars. Is that what you did, Britain? You caused the greater part of the population to become addicted to opium so you could weaken and defend them and steal their resources. They do not want this example of the Virgin Islands.
Create the problem and then create the problem and then you bring the answer for it, is it?
That's precisely, that's why it is a fait accompli. It's a fait accompli. You must find instances. And they searched and they searched and they extended and they extended. And they said a wall which is built in a communal tradition of Virgin Islanders whenever a house was to be built in the early days, the whole community gathered. Everybody pooled their labor to build the house. You had some nights to kill the animal. You had food and you had liquor. You had music and you had merriment.
Everybody came
And the
together. You're right.
collective built the house.
Yes, indeed.
This is what was being done, to my mind, by a very good minister. Spread the work.
Yes.
The COI challenges the fact that in the districts, priority must be given to work when work is being done in the districts to people residing and not unemployable in the districts.
Yes.
They say that is corruption.
But sir,
that is the BVI way.
But look at it. The problem we're having, and I think our people have been shafted out of the tradition. The state has instigated itself as the it all. In other words, everything that you do as a man in the land, if the state is not benefiting from it, or if you're doing anything that the state is not benefiting from, the state calls it illegal.
Yes.
And even traditional development, such as that which you outlined a while ago, which was designed to develop a community, becomes illegal because the state is not making any money out of it. And we sit by and watch these things happen, and government pass these statutes and acts, because it's all about acting is crap. And we sit and watch them do it, and we pretend to be cute. Now, if you lift up a spoon, you have to pay taxes for it. We allow it, brother. We allow it. We allow it. And most of these things need to be repealed. I am not saying that the country should not be run by the people, because when it is done, if you have a government to support what they're doing, blah, 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 it's our money, we put it together, we fix our roads, we do what we have to do. But where our rights are being abrogated, that's a whole nother matter. But we are ignorant to these things. We are so asleep, brother. And this is what is the result of the very thing you mentioned, where those rights that we have as a community have been taken away from us. And if you're going to build a house now, you have to pay the state department for whatever and pay which department for whatever. And you're building this, you have to go pay for that, and you have to pay for that and pay. Because it's a way of digging the wealth out of the people's pocket. It is what it is. We have not been, it slipped away so easily. And now that everybody cussing about what is happening in the BVI right now. Every turn you turn, taxes. You're sending $2 from the BVI to Jamaica or to Barbados or Trinidad or St. Vincent. $20 through Western Union or MoneyGram. You have to pay tax to send it. My God, and we sit down as a bunch of idiots. Mumus, watch it happen. If you lift up a spoon, you have to pay tax. Nobody's saying anything about it.
You must recognize, though, you know, we spoke about these other countries that are Scandinavian countries, literally, who provide universal education up to university level, universal health care, probably about 6 weeks vacation leave every year, housing and the like. But their taxes are about 50 and 60%, you know. So our taxation here, as much as we complain, is because of a hybrid system of democracy which serves a minority but not the majority. This Westminster system, it is maintained to maintain the caste system. So that is why we have these taxes. We have found a unique way, and we are forced to do it because of the financial services, to charge only 8% income tax. But how otherwise does the country finance the other infrastructural needs, the other developmental needs of the territory? It has to tax other things, right? So it is a 6 or a 9. Which is it?
Oh my goodness. Listen, folks, we're gonna take a short break, and when we come back, my beloved brother will be wrapping up, and we close off. Goodness gracious, time does fly when you're having fun. Very serious discussion, and I think the time is right for us to take the wool from our eyes, man, to look at what is happening. We'll come back in a minute.
The raw truth.
The raw truth.
The raw truth.
The voice of the America.
Welcome back, and if you joined us later on in the program, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Yes, click the subscribe button and like the channel, because when the day is over, whenever we send out our notification, you will be first to be updated. So please feel free to go to the like button, click the like button, click the subscribe button, and make sure that you're a part of the platform. Yes, thank you so much for joining us. And of course, we have right here with us Mr. Richard Rowe, the Barrister Richard Rowe, a very savvy lawyer, one who is no jokes when it comes to matters of law. One of the best lawyers in the BVI, and of course, he continues to serve the territory in ways beyond himself. He goes beyond sometimes to help his people as he reach out to them, to help them in such matters. And we thank him for being here this evening. As we wrap up, Mr. Rowe, the whole matter of the investigations in matters which are deemed, using my words carefully, to be criminal matters. As you outlined earlier, it is a matter of administration rather than criminal breaches. But yet it is promoted as criminal investigation into such matters. What are your final words in relation to this matter?
Here's why. Let us liken ourselves to a snake. All right? When the enemy attacks the snake, it doesn't look to cut off the tail. It looks to cut off its head. The British are very skilled exploiters and
Oh my God.
they have hundreds of years of it, internally and externally throughout the world. So what they have done is they have certainly identified our best of our leaders. And I will state it clearly. Myron Walwyn brought, when they heard that they wanted to investigate the wall while he was in power, brought to the sitting governor all the documents, put it on his desk, and said, investigate.
Brought the documents. Wow.
Brought all the documents, investigate. I have nothing to hide.
Wow.
He's been investigated criminally for the last 4 years.
Wow.
Yet police have never spoken to him once.
Wow. You're serious?
Absolutely serious.
Wow.
So that leader, if you taint him as a criminal, you've cut off wise heads which can lead the people. The Honorable Julian Fraser. That Seed Cows project was started when he was minister. When he was, shortly after, he was removed electorally, his party. the new government discontinued the project. He called for a commission of inquiry into it. That was refused by the then governor.
Wow.
But now, because he's perceived as, and I agree with them with their analysis, with one of the most savvy statesmen and one who I would love to lead this territory, they've got to dirty him up by saying they are criminally investigating something which is not a crime.
Wow.
So those are the examples. You have got rid of a man had the unfortunate circumstances not happened with the Freeman Foy. They were delaying the issuance of the recommendations, particularly suspension of the Constitution, because they knew that had Foy been here, he would have mobilized the people against it. So they had to cut his head off. So they are simply, as they did wherever they went and colonized, they decapitate the leadership. And no doubt I might soon be declared persona non grata. For speaking the truth.
Wow.
Right?
Welcome to the raw truth, brother. That's what it is. Wow.
And that is what it is. That is what they're decapitating leaders and leaving persons spreading rumor mongers and scandals are the ones, persons vying, running, collect. I mean, oh my God, they're gathering together. Let us form the advisory government. Come to a meeting and we'll approach the governor and we will become the advisors. Unelected. That's why I agree with Cindy. She rejected any such proposition. But there are others here, oh, they are the nice ones, wanting to sacrifice our freedoms for their own personal benefits. And that's what it is. They want the power.
Wow.
So they lop off the leadership of those who will resist and pick up the little lackeys.
Wow.
Right? Who they know will like themselves be leeches upon the people. Bloodsuckers.
The truth is going to hurt. And I see we hate truth. We don't like truth anymore because we have become a bunch of, as Mr. Rowe called stated a while ago, maybe vampires or bloodsuckers. I'm not sure exactly when we have become such. But goodness gracious, the truth seemed to hurt so bad when we speak truth. And no one seemed to be even careful anymore to listen to virtue. Evil has overtaken us all. And cynicism and fear and all of these things now seem to be what they want to ingrain in the people for control. My beloved brother, as we wrap this up tonight, my question to you is, with all that we have said tonight, which is a very powerful discussion, absolutely a very serious discussion, my question is, as we move into the 21st century and as the BVI, with all the young boys we have in politics right now who I'm not sure what incentives they're getting for all the compliance that they have been privy to, perhaps. But obviously there has to be a certain level of compliance. It's very obvious that there is a certain degree of compliance happening among the youngsters who are left in our political circle within the BVI. Are they prepared to listen to a wise head, wise counsel? That's one question. But while whatever is happening in the house under secrecy continues, my question now is, where do we go from here, my brother? Where do we go from here? As you wrap up, where do we go from here?
A true democracy of the people means that the leadership goes to the people. All right? Because it's not possible for all the people to come to the leadership. There is a material which was published by Carlyle Corbin, which was an assessment of the self-governance sufficiency in conformity with internationally recognized standards. We studied the Virgin Islands and gave the Virgin Islands very high marks comparatively in world administratively.
Yes.
But do you know that the many blockings by the British government for programs which the government wants to institute, the hamstringing of the government and not allowing it to lead, which was the aim of the COI, is not something that the leaders brought to the people. They kept it to themselves and complained.
Mm-hmm.
They failed to do what is necessary.
Bring the matters to the people.
To bring these things to the people.
Yes, I agree.
No, they
100%.
have to bring it to themselves as ministers. But these documents and pamphlets and the like should be circulated by second-level leaders, letting the people know that we are not failures. It is because of our great successes why the British want to take us over.
But
it is because of our great successes why they want to lop off the leadership and cause us to cower in fear. When they were the ones in fear, why they were keeping this report until June and not even displaying it to me as a representative of these people before. How does a judge issue a report and only one party gets it?
Wow. Wow.
That is again an example of this rule of law, which means a rule of me.
Let me ask you this, because the last thing I saw the other day was where each member of the government was holding up a white paper talking about a secrecy document. And it slapped me hard in the face when I saw it, that a lot of things are going to be happening and discussing within government that will never ever reach the people. It's perhaps a little frightening, but this is the hard reality. Now, if you're talking about democracy, which I think democracy is dead, it is an absolute sham. There is no democracy. We are fooled to think that we have freedom of speech and all the crap that goes with it. But it's just a matter of time before you can't even sit in that chair on this platform to share your views. Because all of this is gradually being taken away from the people. There is no democracy. When we had democracy was when the gentleman who built the college, what's his name again?
Lavity
Stout. Yes, stood up and managed this country in a way, this territory, in a way that he could sit down on the side of the road and listen to the men and the women at the side of the road, get their ideas as to what they want to see happening in their own territory, take those ideas into the House of Assembly and presented that to the ministers and said, this is what our people need. This is what we have to do. Those days are Gone, gone.
But and Lavity had the greatest resistance from the British.
Well, of course, because he was a true supporter of democracy. Nowadays, our government officials are in offices in ties and air conditioning They never get out of these offices to see one man on the street, and all the laws are made from the office where they sit because they are in charge. That is now what we call democracy. Absolute crap, brother. And one of the days that our people sit and accept it, it's our fault. I keep saying, it's our fault. It's our
No,
fault.
but you have touched the crux. You are constrained when you become a minister under the Official Secrets Act to simply say, whatever I do to you, you cannot squeal about it. You've got to bend over and take it.
Well, I know. whatever they do to them, they have to bend over.
Don't squeal. Just take it. You can't complain
You make me laughing like hell here tonight.
I've made this undertaking. Lord, man.
So that is where we are.
One of the things that governor wanted me to do was to head a human rights council to bring same-sex marriages into the Virgin Islands.
Wait a little bit. Some of them old people going to drop dead in here when
and what? Yeah, man. And don't worry, the governor's office has enough money to finance it privately.
Oh my God, hear this now. Listen.
Bend over and take it.
I don't know what is going to happen in this little place. I am seeing the worst coming. My brother.
No, you have not seen the worst coming. You have not seen the worst coming. There's our Honorable Marian Walling asked for a certain African history to be taught, in particular Marcus Garvey. And Marcus Garvey just says that when our backs are against the wall, that we will wake up.
Yes.
A warning to Britain. You have just birthed the nationalist independent movement. That is what you have done.
Wow.
Let me predict that.
Wow.
That whether it is perceived as a move towards USVI, an amalgamation of them, or is a move towards CARICOM, or is a move otherwise, but there is a national movement birthed by your criminality against British rule.
Wow.
A national movement. So you have birthed it. Those, as the Jehovah's Witnesses newsletter says, awake.
Do you think our people will ever truly understand the depth of this the depth of what is really happening in the territory, my brother?
A
very simple question, but a profound one. Please tell me.
Let me raise. You might perceive, in terms of my understanding of human nature, territories like Jamaica will have a lot of mouthing and inaction. It's the Virgin Islands people. They are like a quiet storm. They will appear timid and afraid, but they will rise. They have done it many times.
At what point? When?
When they are sufficiently woke, when it's been clear. But no, that is why I watched your program. No, hampered by a majority who have no status, but who are necessary to join this battle against imperialist takeover. That's what worried me so much about your program last week. That the greater majority of the people in the territory are ambivalent, really don't care, because of how some uncaring Virgin Islands have treated their own brothers and sisters who have come over.
I'm gonna say this here as we close, and I need to make this point. I was listening to a program this morning. It's a morning program watched by many local people, and the program is enshrouded in emotionalism. It's a hype. Everybody's in a hype. On a hype. And when the hype is done, everybody gets a good jig and a good shake and a good it's excitement. They like the excitement and the hype. But when it comes to dealing with core matters, such as what we discuss on the Raw Truth, everybody turn off. You have problems because it boils down to who from here and who not from here, when nobody is from here. Nobody. Everybody came in here by virtue of grandpa, grandma, great, whatever else. It's way down the line. Everybody came in here as a result. Nobody's from here. But yet we have a sect that has been very entrenched, who is very entrenched in the idea that if you're not from here, they see immigrants as and when I was done with the program and I assessed it, I assessed what happened this morning, and I asked myself, are we going to, here on the Raw Truth, present fluff to our people? Or are we going to have discussions such as this one, where we examine virtue, where we examine facts, where we examine the raw truth? Will this ever be like that? Hell no, because when the day is done, I am not here to make you feel good because we want to attract you to build numbers. That's not what this is about. This is about catering for the number of people who are currently on this live who understand the virtue of facts.
And that Kenny, reflects the success of the brainwashing and of the laws of a law that could dare on this little marble of a planet describe some people as belongers and non-belongers.
Belonging to who? To what?
Belonging and not belonging. In other words,
brainwashed. That's what it is.
Brainwashed.
Yes, brainwashed.
When we look upon our fellow Caribbean, African brothers, and Europeans too, who joined in building this territory, and tell the majority of them that they don't belong, they turn their back on you when you are in need of support, like now, when invaders are coming.
Barrister Rowe, I said it this morning to those people, and I will continue to say it. The greatest asset that this territory has at this present moment in our history is the immigrant community. A woman said, no, it's not the immigrant, it's our children. Well, the children never lift a block to build this territory. The immigrants did. I am not sure how we could be so brainwashed to be thinking the way we're thinking. And it becomes an emotional pitfall when we speak like this, because it's all about protecting the local and the belonger. I said it, the 30% that is here, called local people, if they don't wake the hell up and embrace the people around them, as you rightly say, my beloved brother, embrace them, that when you need help, you have help. Your children won't help you, my beloved brothers and sisters in the BVI. Your children need help. And if you need help and you can't help them, what a pasa it's going to be. The people of the BVI need the immigrant brothers and sisters as they did 100 years ago, as they did 75 years ago, as they need 20 years ago, as they need now. The territory is going to be nothing without them. And we need to wake the hell up and begin to embrace. And the sooner we do it, the better the relationship will be, that when you, the local man and woman, fall into pasa, and the doo-doo start flying all about, you have people here with you who, because of how you treat them, are willing to fight the hell to protect your backside. I'm saying it in adult fashion that you can understand it. I'm not sure when we're going to wake up to this. Honorable Rowe, You are an absolute amazing man. And I tell you this, you see, we have come to the end of the program, and I'm very, 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 very happy that you were able to come on here. And we're very happy that you were able to share such deep thoughts. Joy Untouchable is telling me that she don't have a job since 2020. Sister, my heart goes out for you. What, you're not a belong or a local? Maybe you need to talk to one of them local people. They might be able to. You're not. Well, you're not from here. If you're not from here, well, Lord help you. I don't know. It's a demonizing of immigrants. I don't know where the hell it came from. Andrew Foy in his time was actually pushing it to the point where local and belong, you hear it every day, to the point where families start fight. Man who not from here fight, technically building up fight. Huh?
But Andrew Foy attempted a process.
Families divided as a result of this crap.
And indeed, how dare these people birth your children in Puerto Rico or St. Thomas, let them have dual citizenship, but let those children born here have no rights. Let those who have given up their life elsewhere and helped build a society have no rights after 15 years, 20 years, 25 years.
35 years, I'm told that people are still here up to 40 years and still haven't received status in this country.
No.
As we speak. These are the things I want Britain to fix with urgency and abolish this crap about who from here and who not from here. Abolish it.
Why do you ask for listen, I give you an example. I hope it is not too raunchy for the ear. A man has committed adultery. Does it mean that another man has a right to come into his home and enjoy the conjugal rights with his wife and his children while he stands by and watches? We can clean up our own mess.
Wow.
Family can look after family. Who is correcting? Which wise body is correcting all the wickedness going on in Britain or in the United States? We need to have aliens to come in and do this. The people have to do it themselves.
Serious matter, my brother. And I hope to God we'll wake up tonight after this discussion. I hope the message will spread like wildfire.
We don't need others to come and do it if we can do it. Because we have done it. We have built a better society than England.
Wow.
And England doesn't like it.
Well, wow.
So how can England, who have not been able to achieve it, succeed?
Wow. What can I say?
I mean, it's logical for any thinking person.
Honorable Rowe, I listen, what can I say? My heart supports your thoughts. I know where you're coming from. I understand exactly what you're saying. And as a motivator for our people, I do hope that our people will continue to inspire themselves with these discussions and take a different approach in relation to how we move, where we go, and how we move. Yes, that we will begin to shape our destiny in a way that makes sense. Please share this discussion with all your friends. Share it, reshare it everywhere, that all BVI landers will be able to listen to these discussions to come to a place in their own minds as to where the hell we are and what we need to do as we move forward. Honorable brother, thank you so much for your final thoughts. And I look forward to having you again. And hopefully you might be able to bring along other guests who might be able to continue the discussion in a way that we can uplift the BVI moving forward. Yeah. Peace and honor, brother.
Some are more fearful than I am.
I know. These are not the days for fear. No.
Thank you for having me.
Always welcome. Always welcome.
Greatly appreciate it.
Always welcome. You take care of yourself, and all the best until we catch up the next time around, okay?
Certainly.
Good.
And good night to your audience, too.
Of course. All right, so that was our honorable brother, Barrister Richard Rowe. And I don't have to say much. An amazing discussion. And I do hope that at the end of the day, the BVI will wake the hell up. I mean, Sister Etta would say, wake the hell up. Wake the hell up. I want the BVI to wake up. We have not been doing too well at analyzing our current status and stop being brainwashed by emotionalism. We need to wake up, put aside emotion, and start to deal with the facts. Because until we are at a place where the facts become the norm, as Sister Etta said, we doom. We doom. All the best to you. May the great Creator guide you. May you be prosperous as you continue to protect and defend yourselves. To all my friends across the world, wherever you're watching us from, please, if you joined us late, subscribe to our channel, our YouTube channel. Subscribe to the channel. Yes, like the channel and subscribe. And please share with all your friends. Make sure that when you, you'll be able to continue to get our updates. And the only way you're going to get our updates directly is by subscribing or liking the page. Please do so. Next week, we have a hell of a lot more coming. Goodness gracious, I've been promising that I want to go to St. Kitts. St. Kitts is on my mind. St. Kitts, boy. All of that political madness going on down there. I want to bring on one of my friends from down St. Kitts one of these weeks so we can have a talk as to what is happening there. I think if you talk about the BVI crazy boy, you talk about St. Kitts now. St. Kitts, boy, some mad things happening down there politically. And I think I need to have to do a feature of St. Kitts. In the meantime, whatever you do, take care of yourselves. And of course, we catch up next Monday evening. All the best to you. Everything around us is changing. Yeah. Nothing will ever be the same. Yeah. Limitless scope for transformation. Yeah. Yet no one has the answer for the pain. Yeah. Selfishness and greed have many blinded. Heartlessness has many people suffering. Why can't we see our brothers' pain? Yeah. Children are hungry and they are crying. Mothers are hurting and they are sighing. Yet all we care about is gain. Yeah. It's done for you.